ഇന്നത്തെ വാർത്തയിലേക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും സ്വാഗതം. ചാനൽ ആദ്യമായി കാണുന്നവരാണെങ്കിൽ വാർത്തകൾ തുടർന്നും ലഭിക്കാൻ ചാനൽ സബ്സ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്യുക. വാർത്തകൾ കൂടുതൽ പേരിലെത്തിക്കാൻ ഷെയർ ചെയ്യുക, ലൈക്ക് ചെയ്യുക.
കേരള ഫിനാൻഷ്യൽ കോർപ്പറേഷൻ KFC മാനേജർ പോസ്റ്റിലേക്ക് നിയമനത്തിനായി അപേക്ഷ ക്ഷണിച്ചു. നോട്ടിഫിക്കേഷൻ നമ്പർ KFC-15/2024 2025, ഡേറ്റഡ് 28/3/2025. നമ്പർ ഓഫ് പോസ്റ്റ് മാനേജർ, പെർമനൻറ്റ് പോസ്റ്റ് 3, 1 OBC, 1 SC, 1 OC കാറ്റഗറി. ഏജ് ലിമിറ്റ് 40 വയസ്സ്. ക്വാളിഫിക്കേഷൻ BE BTech വിത്ത് CA2B or MBA, LLB with CA2B or MBA, associate or fellow membership of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India via ACA or FCA, or associate or fellow membership of Institute of Cost and Works Accountancy of India via ACMA or FCMA, or member of Institute of Company Secretaries of India ICSI via Company Secretary ACS. Experience മിനിമം 7 വർഷത്തെ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ഉണ്ടായിരിക്കണം. ആപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ ഓൺലൈൻ വഴി അപേക്ഷ സമർപ്പിക്കേണ്ടതാണ്. ലാസ്റ്റ് ഡേറ്റ് ഓഫ് സബ്മിറ്റ് ദി ആപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ April 28, 2025 വൈകുന്നേരം 5 മണി വരെ. ഇൻസ്ട്രക്ഷൻ ഫോർ സ്കാനിങ് ഓഫ് ഫോട്ടോഗ്രാഫ് ആൻഡ് സിഗ്നേച്ചർ. ഫോട്ടോഗ്രാഫ് സ്കാൻ ചെയ്ത് 200 KB-യിൽ കുറഞ്ഞ സൈസിൽ JPEG ഫോർമാറ്റിൽ അപ്ലോഡ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടതാണ്. സിഗ്നേച്ചർ വെള്ള പേപ്പറിൽ സിഗ്നേച്ചർ ഇട്ട് സ്കാൻ ചെയ്ത് 50 KB-യിൽ കുറഞ്ഞ സൈസിൽ JPEG ഫോർമാറ്റിൽ അപ്ലോഡ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടതാണ്. സെലക്ഷൻ പ്രോസസ് റിട്ടൺ ടെസ്റ്റ്, ഇൻ്റർവ്യൂ എന്നിവയുടെ അടിസ്ഥാനത്തിലാണ് ഉദ്യോഗാർത്ഥികളെ തിരഞ്ഞെടുക്കുക. %40 കട്ട് ഓഫ് കിട്ടിയ ഉദ്യോഗാർത്ഥികളെ ഇൻ്റർവ്യൂവിന് ക്ഷണിക്കുന്നതായിരിക്കും. റിട്ടൺ ടെസ്റ്റിൻ്റെയും ഇൻ്റർവ്യൂവിൻ്റെയും വെയിറ്റേജ് 80:20 എന്ന ക്രമത്തിലായിരിക്കും. റാങ്ക് ലിസ്റ്റ് KFCയുടെ വെബ്സൈറ്റിൽ പബ്ലിഷ് ചെയ്യുന്നതാണ്. പരീക്ഷയുടെ തീയതി പിന്നീട് വെബ്സൈറ്റിൽ അറിയിക്കുന്നതായിരിക്കും. സ്കെയിൽ ഓഫ് പേ 76,600, 3,000, 88,600, 3,400, 1,22,000, 3,700, 1,17,000, 4,100, 1,33,400, 4,400, 1,42,200. Other benefits DA, HRA, LTC, etc. Place of work, the headquarters will be at head office, തിരുവനന്തപുരം. അഡ്മിറ്റ് കാർഡ് ഇമെയിൽ വഴി അയക്കുന്നതായിരിക്കും. കൂടുതൽ വിവരങ്ങൾക്ക് KFCയുടെ വെബ്സൈറ്റ് സന്ദർശിക്കുക. സിലബസ് ക്വാണ്ടിറ്റേറ്റീവ് ആപ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഡ് ആൻഡ് റീസണിംഗ് എബിലിറ്റി 15 ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ, മാർക്ക് 15. ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ലാംഗ്വേജ് 10 ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ, മാർക്ക് 10. ബാങ്കിങ് സെക്ടർ 75 ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ, മാർക്ക് 75. ടോട്ടൽ 100 മാർക്ക്. Syllabus of banking sector. Indian financial system. An overview. Role of RBI, commercial banks, NBFCs, PDS, FI, cooperative banks, CRR, SLR, equity and debit market, IRDA, banking regulation, constitution, objectives, functions of RBI, tools of monetary control, regulatory restrictions on lending, risk management, Basel Accords, introduction to risk management, Basel 1, 2, 3, Accords, CBIL, role and functions of CBIL. Recent developments in financial system structure, reforms in the Indian financial system, recent developments in money, debt, forex market, regulatory framework, payments and settlement system, demonetization, KYC, AML, CFT norms, PMLA Act, KYC norms, banks, special relationship, mandate, POA, garnishee orders, bankers lien, right of set off, consumer protection, COPRA, banking ombudsman scheme, operational aspect of COPRA Act, banking ombudsman scheme, payment and collection of checks and other negotiable instruments, NI Act, roles and duties of paying and collecting banks endorsements, forged instruments, bouncing of checks, its implications, return of checks, check truncation system, principles of lending, working capital assessment and credit monitoring, cardinal principles, non-fund based limits, WC, term loans, credit appraisal techniques, source of WC funds and its estimation, operating cycle, projected net WC, turnover method, cash budget, credit monitoring and its management, base rate, micro, small and medium enterprises, MED Act, different modes of charging securities, assignment, lien, set off, hypothecation, pledge, mortgage, types of collaterals and their characteristics, land and building, goods, documents of title of goods, advances against insurance policies, shares, book debt, term deposits, gold, etc., supply bills, non-performing assets, definition, income recognition, asset classification and provisional norms, financial inclusion, BCBF, role of ICD in financial inclusion, mobile based transaction, payment system and electronic banking, ATMs, HWAK, PIN, electromagnetic cards, electronic banking, signature storage and retrieval system, CTS, note and coin, counting machines, microfiche, NPC, RUPE, calculation of interest and annuities, calculation of simple interest and compound interest, calculation of equated monthly installment, fixed and floating interest rate, calculation of annuities, interest calculation using products, balances, amortization of a debt, sinking funds, debt, definition, meanings and salient features, loans, introduction to bonds, terms associated with bonds, cost of debit capital, capital budgeting, present value and discounting, discounted technique for investment appraisal, internal rate of return, method of investment appraisal, NPV and IRR compared, investment opportunities with capital rationing, investment decision making under condition of uncertainty, expected NPV rules, risk adjusted discount rate approach for NPV determination, sensitivity analysis for NPV determination, decision tree analysis for NPV estimation, payback methods, ARR, depreciation and its accounting, depreciation, its type and methods, comparing depreciation methods, definition, scope and accounting standards, nature and purpose of accounting, historical perspectives, origins of accounting principles, accounting standards in India and its definition and scope, generally accepted accounting principle of USA, transfer pricing overview, of IFRS, difference between GAAP and IFRS, basic accountancy procedures, concepts of accountancy, going concern entry, double entry system, principle of conservatism, revenue recognition and realization, accrual and cash basis, maintenance of cash, subsidiary book and ledger, record keeping basics, account categories, debit and credit concepts, accounting and columnar accounting mechanics, journal, ledgers, subsidiary books, etc. Trial balance, rectification of errors and adjusting and closing entries, meaning of a trial balance, features and purpose of trial balance, types of trial balance and preparation of trial balance, disagreement of trial balance, classification of errors, location of errors, rectification of errors, suspense account and rectification of errors when books are closed, adjusting and closing entries. Capital and revenue expenditure, distinction between capital and revenue expenditure, deferred revenue expenditure, receipts, general illustrations, balance sheet equation, computation of balance sheet equation, preparation of final accounts, preparation of trading account, profit and loss account, profit and loss appropriation account, balance sheet ratio analysis, meaning of accounting ratios, classification of ratios, uses of accounting ratios, limitation of accounting ratios, calculation and interpretation of various ratios, different uses and their use of ratios, final accounts of banking companies, definition and function of a bank, requirements of banking companies as to accounts and audit, significant features of accounting systems of banks, principal book of accounts, preparation and presentation of financial statements of banks, CMA format, accounting treatment of specific items, preparation of profit and loss account, comments on profit and loss account, important items of balance sheet, company, definition and types of companies, distinction between partnership and limited liability company, classes of share capital, issues of shares, general illustration, non-voting shares, form of balance sheet, legal requirements for assets, legal requirements for liabilities, legal requirements for profit and loss account, preparation of final accounts, tied up capital and reserves, legal framework of regulation of banks, business of banking, construction of banks, RBI Act 1934, Banking Regulation Act 1949, role of RBI government as a regulator of banks, controller over cooperative banks, regulation by other authorities, different types of borrowees, limited liability partnership, types of credit facilities, cash credit, overdraft, demand loans, term loans, bill finance, secured and unsecured loans, registration of firms and incorporation of companies, definition of secured and unsecured loans, need for secured loans, registration of firms, consequence of non-registration of firms, incorporation of company, indemnities, definition of contract of indemnity, features of indemnity contract and guarantee, scope and application of indemnity contracts to banks, obligation of a bankers, precaution and right of indemnity holders, bank guarantees, definition and types of bank guarantees, or bankers' duty to honor guarantee, precautions to be taken for issuance of bank guarantee, precaution to be taken for payment under bank guarantee, invocation and enforcement, letters of credit, general consideration of letters of credit, parties to a letter of credit, type of letters of credit, documents under a letter of credit, UCPDC 600, banks obligation for payment of letter of credit, various types of securities, escrow arrangements, trust and retention arrangements, registration and satisfaction of charges, definition of charges, procedure for registration of charges, effect of non-registration of charges, provision of law relating to registration of charges, case laws on responsibility of paying bank, Negotiable Instrument Act and paying banks, liability of paying banker, payment in due course, payment in good faith, whether payment under mistake recoverable. Case laws on responsibility of collecting bank, statutory protection to collecting bank, duties of collecting bank, recovery of debit due to Banks and Financial Institution Act 1993, objective of the Act, constitution of tribunal procedure to be followed, enforcement process, securities cession and reconstruction of financial assets and enforcement of Securities Interest Act 2002, constitutional validity, definition, regulation, reconstruction, enforcement of security interest, central registry, offences, penalties, miscellaneous provisions. The law of limitation, definition, computation of limitation, important provision in schedule to the Limitation Act, tax laws, income tax, GST, Negotiable Instrument Act 1881, applicability, definition, important provision. Indian Contract Act 1872, meaning and essential of contract, contract of indemnity and right of indemnity holder, contract of guarantee, contract of bailment, contract of pledge, contract of agency. Indian Partnership Act 1932, definition and types of partnership, relation of partners to one another and to third parties, minor admitted to benefits of partnership, dissolution of a firm, effect of non-registration, limited liability partnership formation, registration, rights and liabilities of partners, definition and features of a company, definition and features of a company, distinction between company and partnership, the Companies Act 1956, now Companies Act 2013, definition, features and types of companies, memorandum and articles of association, doctrine of ultra various ultra-vires, constructive notice, indoor management, membership of company.
തൊഴിൽ അവസര വാർത്തകൾ എല്ലാ ദിവസവും. തൊഴിൽ വാർത്തകൾക്കായി ചാനൽ സബ്സ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്യുക. ലൈക്ക്, കമൻറ്റ്, ഷെയർ ചെയ്യുക. ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ പേപ്പേഴ്സ്, നോട്ട്സ്, ആൻസർ കീ, വീഡിയോ ക്ലാസ്, വാർത്തകൾ തുടങ്ങി കൂടുതൽ വിവരങ്ങൾ വെബ്സൈറ്റിൽ ലഭ്യമാണ്. വെബ്സൈറ്റ് https://www.studyforsure.com